Welcome to Brace for Impact with Pastor Pam. So we have an interesting topic today, I think. So today is November the 29th, and it's 2 days after Thanksgiving this year, 25. And, we just know that this kind of kicks off the official holiday season. And boy, we were talking, and there's so many people that have had their trees up already, like last weekend, like the week before Thanksgiving, even in businesses. And I just have never seen such a widespread situation like that, where a lot of people are putting them up early, So I guess it's just, I've never really taught about this. We've talked about it in our group, but we're going to talk about Christmas. And is Christmas about Christ? And we're going to see what just a few of the traditions are and where they're rooted. And we're going to see what the Word says to us about this. And a lot of people say, well, it's about my heart, and my heart is in the right place, and I'm not worshiping some other God, I'm worshiping Jesus. And so we're going to talk about all that at some level. So if the intent of our heart, if we think the intent of our heart is to make Christmas about worshiping Christ, and then does that mean that is that the measure of our right to celebrate Christmas? Mm-hmm. So let's take a look at that and see. I meant to print some Word documents. So I may have to just read them off my phone, because I have all my information about a few of the different traditions in my phone. So let's name off some of the traditions that we think of when we think of Christmas. There's so many, right?
Like Christmas trees,
Christmas lights, Christmas trees, decorations. How about the stockings hanging by the fireplace?
Yeah, reindeer, Santa Claus,
mistletoe.
Yeah,
Santa. Santa. Yeah. Gifts, gift giving, right?
Right.
Caroling. Even things like ugly sweater parties.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The Yule log, just the color of red and green. Holly, wreaths, Christmas boughs. The famous
Christmas
poem.
songs, Christmas movies,
Christmas plays in the church.
Christmas plays, yeah.
Yeah. The famous poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," that was written in 1822. And if we look at that, the stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. So what does that mean? Why did they hang the stockings on the chimneys? The fireplace chimneys. You don't?
For them to be filled?
Well, yeah, to be filled, but why would they hang them there? Well, the tradition is that Santa would land on your roof with his sleigh and his reindeer, and he would come down your chimney.
Right. That's what the lie. Yeah, that's the lie that's out there.
Yeah, so that's the lie. So let's look at, since you brought that up, let's look at Exodus 20, verse 3. You'll know what this is as soon as we get there.
Verse 3?
Yeah, but we're going to go through at least through 7.
Okay.
Ooh, I thought. Set my hand.
Oh.
Thank you. So these are the 10 Commandments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we start at 3, and we'll go down through 17.
Okay.
So Exodus 20, 3 through 17.
It says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Mm.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's."
So, verse 16, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. What does that mean?
Telling a lie against your false witness.
A lie is false
Oh,
witness.
okay, yeah.
Against who?
Your neighbor.
Who's your neighbor?
It could be your child, your anybody.
Around you,
Yeah.
Could it be? I mean, we certainly shouldn't lie about God, right?
Oh, it could be God. Yeah.
So I was listening to something on the way over here, and I have it right here. This statistic blew me away. This is from something called the Parent Curve. Research in the Journal of Cognition and Development in 2011 shows that 83% of 5-year-olds think Santa Claus is real. We found in more recent studies that number of 85% sounds about right, said some assistant professor. Children's belief in Santa starts when they're between 3 and 4. It's very strong when they're between 4 and 8. And at 8 years old, we start to see the drop off in belief. So, I mean, how wicked and evil can we be to teach our children about what we know is a lie?
Mm-hmm.
And
out. Yeah.
And have them struggle with, why did we lie to them? And we're just breaking one of God's commandments right there. I mean, and not just once. If we're telling them that from when they're little until they're, 8 or 9.
Right.
Over and over and over for years. Why would we think that's appropriate? Why would we think that includes a way to worship Jesus Christ?
Wow.
Like, if we would just stop and think about these traditions, taking aside the fact that almost 100% of them are rooted in paganism, taking that aside, just taking it and looking at it and saying, why would we think that's a way to honor Jesus Christ? Right?
Wow.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that's in the earth beneath, or that's in the water under the earth. I mean, think of all the idolatry, all the graven images that surround Christmas, like Jesus in the manger and the angels and all the stuff that are made, all the ornaments that are made to decorate the trees, right?
Yeah.
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them. Now we think about that. Okay, so we've got these graven images, these things that we've made. They're likenesses of, even if we think they're likenesses of holy things. The You know, the famous manger scene. That's a tree ornament, you know. Hang all this stuff on our tree. Hang all this stuff on our tree.
Wow.
Thou shalt not be bow down thyself to them nor serve them. And we put gifts under the tree. What do? We have to bow down.
You have to bow out down and get it under there. Mhm.
I mean, like it or not, I think it's pretty
That's
I think it's pretty
yeah.
blatant.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm. Mm.
verse 7, thou shalt not take the name of thy Lord thy God in vain. What do you think that means? Does that mean just saying God or Jesus and using it as a exclamation or a swear word? What does it mean?
You know, it means your actions play a part in that too. Like Christians stamping the name Christian on themselves, but what matters is how they live.
So explain that more. Stamp in the name of Christian, stamp the name of Christ themselves, but then it matters how they live. Explain that more.
Like,
How does that, what does that mean with taking the name of the Lord in vain?
like you can't stamp Christian on yourself, but still, like I'll use this for an example, be a part of the traditions of the world that we know are against God.
Okay.
The traditions of men, or
Yeah. Yeah. Or taking something that we know the roots are pagan, the roots were to worship other gods,
right?
taking that and putting Jesus' name on it and trying to make it holy. I mean, that's just a plain, easy example of taking the name of the Lord in vain.
Yeah.
But you know what? There are so many Christians who actually don't know where it all started. But if the topic is brought up,
They don't want to know.
There you go. Thank you.
Right?
They're like running from, like, well, like they throw their hands up, like, I don't even want to know, because I don't do it for that reason. I don't do it for that reason.
Because that's not my heart. So we're going to look at that too, because I find it personally hard to believe that nobody in today, I mean, we have the internet today. We no longer have the excuse of not knowing stuff.
Absolutely.
Right.
I find it hard to believe that anybody really hasn't ever heard
Oh, yeah,
that Christmas is pagan.
Now that I'm not saying, but I'm saying
No,
they
but
don't
I'm
know
saying
the root of it. Yeah, they've heard it. Yeah.
Whether they believe it or not, okay, research
Absolutely.
it, because if you're doing something that is, if you're taking the name of Christ and putting it on something that was to worship another God, you're taking the name of the Lord thy God in vain. There's no other way to look at it, right?
Right, because when I first heard that, I was at a school, and this guy just stopped me in the hallway, and I don't know, it had to be a God thing, but the direction he was going was more towards Jehovah's Witness. So I just just dismissed it and took off. Like, okay, well, I gotta go. I gotta get to class or something like that. Whatever excuse I had, So I just ignored it until it was brought up again.
Because he didn't celebrate because of Jehovah's Witnesses' beliefs, not because it was biblical.
Well, he said that it was paganism. He was the first one that ever. I said, what? He said, do you know what that is? I said, not really. He said something about it's demonic. It's evil, So then he started talking more, and he started using phrases that I believe that he was trying to get me to hear his Jehovah's Witness spiel. So I just kind of cut it off and just walked away, But he was the first one that I ever heard say it was paganism. And then maybe a year or so after that, you told me about it yourself, and I was like, oh, because he did say that the Bible speaks about Christmas trees and decorating them, and I was like, oh, really? Wow, okay. And that was the end of that. Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is the reason that we are so resistant to give up this tradition of Christmas? I mean, I think there's more than one reason, but what are some of the reasons
that we are so what now?
Resistant to give it up?
Because it's an idol. That was my reason. It was hard for me to give up because it was such an idol to me,
People make a big deal about getting a lot of stuff, like, I don't know what.
Because of what you can get from it and get out of it,
like
maybe.
The gifts and I don't know why they're thinking about it. That's a really good question.
It's a stronghold, that's for sure.
It's a really, really strong stronghold.
Mm-hmm. Right. But growing up in, like, when we grew up like that, it was different for us because we were just so used to getting so much stuff around Christmas time. Wait until midnight to get waking up and be like, oh, we got a bike, or just stuff that we really wanted, or throughout the year, and then some
The
stuff.
hype
So
of it, the excitement.
maybe that would be a part of why it would be so hard for others to give it up.
I think I think it's interesting if we listen to people's excuses, who are Christian or claim to be Christian. They're solid in their beliefs. Their excuses for hanging on to it. I just think it's fascinating, the excuses that are made to hang on to this tradition. And I said to you years ago, when God really started dealing with me about this, I was like, so let me get this straight. The whole world celebrates Jesus Christ on this one day. I don't think so. Like, that's the first clue that this cannot possibly be of God, right?
Right.
So let's look at some scriptures, and then we're going to keep on chatting about this. So let's go to 2 Timothy 3:16 and 17. Got some precedents here that we always like to do for our
2
studies.
Timothy 3:16, 17.
Says all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all God's work, all good works.
All scripture is given for doctrine,
For reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works.
So should this not be where we go to find out, is it okay for me to celebrate this holiday, even though I know the roots are pagan, even though I know it has nothing to do with Christ? We should go to the Word, right?
That's it.
Let's go to Hebrews 4:12 and 13. Should we go to the Word to see if we have the right to celebrate Christmas
Oh, yeah.
in the name of Christ?
Yeah.
I mean, every Christian that we know makes the excuse, well, I do it because I'm celebrating Jesus. Well, I have another question. When did Jesus ever talk about celebrating his birth? He talked about celebrating his death. He talked about this do in remembrance of me. He talked about celebrating his death and his resurrection. When did he ever talk about celebrating his birth?
Right.
In Isaiah, before he came, we know that it was prophesied, right? But I mean, all the excuses are just going to go out the window when we start applying the Word of God. If we apply it rightly, if we rightly divide it, if we really want to know, what does God say about this? And can we serve God? Can we serve God in pagan beliefs in his name? Can we truthfully worship him that way? Can we worship him in spirit and truth if we're using pagan traditions that were put in place to honor pagan gods? Can we do that?
No.
We can't. Not if we really love God. I mean, right? Okay, let's look at Hebrews 4:12 and 13.
Okay. It says, for the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrow, excuse me, and as a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do.
Of him with whom we have to do. Wow. Wow. Let's look at Ecclesiastes 12:13 and 14.
Ecclesiastes 12.
13 and 14.
Says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
The partial duty of man,
The whole duty.
the most important duty of man.
Whole duty.
The whole duty of man is what? Fear God and keep his commandments. If we fear God, are we going to come before him and act like we're worshiping him in the name of some other God?
Mm.
In the tradition of some other God?
Wow.
Like, wow. All right, let's go to Matthew 7, 13 and 14. Because something you said made me want to touch on this just a minute ago.
Read it.
Mhm.
It says, "Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate,
Mm.
and narrow and broad is the way, that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it."
Few be there that find it. So I was also listening to that video on the way over here, and he said that in 2019 there was some studies done. I don't know how they do these studies, but in America, 93% of the people said they would be celebrating Christmas in one fashion or another.
Wow.
In England, it was the same statistic. In Canada, it was like 92%. In a couple of other countries, it was like 78%. So we've got the whole world celebrating this holiday, and we think that this is the straight and narrow way.
Hmm.
Right.
We think this is pleasing to God somehow.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Mm. Mm.
Let's look at now let me read some of the information about some of these traditions. So let's start with Saturnalia. So Saturnalia was a festival that Romans celebrated. Originally, now what they did was, so Saturn was the Roman god of farming and the harvest. It included a sacrifice of young pigs at a temple dedicated to Saturn, which were then eaten at a public feast the next day. There was a lot of other things that went on, but we're just going to leave it at that. Originally, it was held on one day, which was December the 17th. But over the centuries, sometime between 133 and 31 BC, what does BC mean?
Before Christ.
Before Christ, it was extended from the 17th to the 23rd of December. So it goes a week. This was before Christ.
Mm.
So it's celebrating a Roman god, it's celebrating a false god, and yet it is a lot of the basis for what many of the traditions of Christmas came out of. So they're celebrating this before Christ is even born.
So how was Jesus the reason for the season?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Good question.
This was a public holiday. There was a joyous carnival-like atmosphere in the streets. People gave each other gifts and ate and drank a lot. Usually Romans followed very strict societal rules, and everyone knew their place. But during some Saturnalia, these rules were set aside, and even slaves who had hard lives with little time off could relax and have fun. Masters invited their slaves to eat with them and even served their slaves themselves, unthinkable at any other time of the year. It was a midwinter festival, very popular. This article says, but probably not as important as Christmas is to many people today. I would agree with that. So that was like one part of society, right? Some ancient sources tell us information about things that happened during Saturnalia, but none of them describe the whole festival. It began early in the day with sweet pastries made with dates, plums, figs. Any of that sound familiar? Apples and pears. Scattered to people from a rope stretched over the amphitheater. Those attending the celebration brought baskets of bread, luxurious foods, and lots of wine. Female gladiators fought in the arena, and in the evening, the crowd enthusiastically shouted their thanks to the emperor. So, I guess they were worshiping their emperor. And by the way, this is from a website called EnglishHeritage.org.uk. Some of the things, let's see, I read that already. So the other thing about Saturnalia was all work was suspended for that week. Now, I don't know if I have that here. I believe it was the 3rd or 4th century, maybe. I don't know. At some point, some ruler limited the most significant part of the celebration to like 3 days because it was affecting their commerce, basically. So they still got those 3 days off, but not everybody got the whole 7 days off. Another thing about Christmas that bothers a lot of people who don't celebrate Christmas, we know that we don't know the date that Jesus was born.
Right.
But we also know that it likely was not in December because of the cold weather and time of years. And these shepherds, from about any account you can find, would most not likely have been out in the fields tending their sheep. They did that in the warmer weather,
Right. Wow.
which is the absolute biblical account of the angels telling that Jesus had been born, right? December was party season for the Romans. That was a day of present giving, the 23rd. So it's compared to Christmas Day, even though Christmas Day is December the 25th. So December 25th was also celebrated by the Romans, so 2 days later, as the birth of the sun god Sol Invictus. After the Roman Empire converted to Christianity, 25th December was changed into a Christian holy day, and parts of the winter festivals were brought together into a new celebration, Christmas. The first recorded Christmas day took place in Anno Domini. So what's Anno Domini? After Christ, right? After the way we counted years changed when Christ was born. 336, so 350 years approximately after Jesus was born. Although this was celebrated on January 6th instead, it was moved to December 25th at around 354 to 360 Anno Domini. So after the Roman Empire converted Christianity, 25th December was changed into a Christian holy day. What do we call this time from Thanksgiving through New Year's? The holidays. We don't think that that's a direct slam to God and his holy days, calling it holidays.
Wow.
Yeah. Lots of the Christmas traditions followed today look very similar to those of the Romans, that the Romans took part into. During the Saturnalia festival, wax tapers and torches were lit. In a similar way to Advent candles used by Christians today, houses were also decorated with wreaths and evergreen plants. That's exactly what everybody does today. Green wreaths, right? Boughs along the walls or along the chimney or the fireplace, along the counters, along the staircase, right? And holly. Houses were also decorated with wreaths and evergreen plants. I just said that Roman people ate lots of food, drank lots of wine, played games, gave each other gifts, sang, and shared tales. They wore special cone-shaped hats called pilai. I don't know how you say that. The festival is described as very joyful. People would go around the street singing songs. What do we do today? Here we go, a caroling. Right?
Mhm.
And those cone-shaped hats, that'd be like a Santa hat, right?
I guess. That's probably right. Yep, just as many go door to door singing carols at Christmas time today. So that is Saturnalia, a little tiny bit about it. So again, it was honoring the Roman god of farming and the harvest named Saturn. And oh, by the way, it included a sacrifice of young pigs at a temple dedicated to Saturn. I mean, pigs to the Jews were filthy animals. God would never have them sacrifice pigs.
Right.
Never. I mean, it's just a mockery of Jesus, the whole way of God, of a holy God. All right, now let's look at, so that's kind of the backdrop of where a lot of the tradition spun out of was the Saturnalia. Christmas traditions roots Christmas trees. So this is from a website called ZME Science. ZME Science. Long before Christianity appeared, people in the Northern Hemisphere used evergreen plants to decorate their homes, particularly the doors, to celebrate the winter solstice. So the winter solstice was also during the time of Saturnalia. On December 21st or 22nd, the day is the shortest and the night's the longest. Traditionally, this time of year is seen as the return in strength of the sun god, who'd been weakened during winter, and the evergreen plants served as a reminder that the god would glow again and summer was to be expected. The solstice was celebrated by the Egyptians, who filled their homes with green palm rushes in honor of the god Ra, R-A, who had the head of a hawk and wore the sun as a crown. So we've all seen pictures of that. In Northern Europe, the Celts decorated their Druid temples with evergreen boughs, which signified everlasting life. Further up north, the Vikings thought evergreens were the plants of Balder, the god of light and peace. What business do we have putting any of this in our homes and claiming it's about Christ?
Right.
The ancient Romans marked the winter solstice with a feast called Saturnalia, thrown in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture, and like the Celts, decorated their homes and temples with evergreen boughs. It's worth mentioning at this point that Saturnalia was the most important celebration in Roman life. It was a week-long rowdy celebration held from the 17th of December. It was so wordy that at some point no one could be prosecuted for injuring or killing people, raping, theft. I think that meant worldly. It was so worldly. Anything usually against the law. But although a lot of people blew off steam by taking advantage of the lawlessness, Saturnalia could also be a time for kindness. During Saturnalia, many Romans practiced merrymaking and the exchange of presents, another practice you may find familiar. In the early days of Christianity, the birth of Jesus was set on the last day of Saturnalia by the first Christian Romans in power to approach pagans, even though some scholars assert Jesus was born 9 months later or a few years earlier, but that's not the point. It was a clever political ploy, some say, which in time transformed Saturnalia from a frat party marathon into a meek celebration of the birth of Christ. Let's look real quick at Job 14:4. And we're going to remember this throughout this talk about Christmas.
It says, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one.
Not one. So we can't take Saturnalia's frat party marathon and make it a meek celebration of the birth of Christ. Will you also pop up that picture?
Mm-hmm.
While a lot of ancient cultures used evergreens around Christmas time, historical records suggest the Christmas tree tradition was started in the 16th century by Germans who decorated fir trees inside their homes. An underlying theme through some of this is fertility and having these gods favor them with fertility and with blessing their crops, et cetera, et cetera. These paradise trees were often accompanied by wooden pyramids made of branches held together by rope. On these pyramids, some families would fasten and light candles, one for each family member. These were the precursors of modern Christmas tree lights and ornaments, along with edibles such as gingerbread and gold-covered apples. By 1605, Christmas trees were a thing, as in that year, historical records suggest the inhabitants of Strasbourg set up fir trees in the parlors and hung thereon roses cut out of many colored paper, apples, wafers, gold foil, sweets, etc. During these early days of the Christmas tree, many statesmen and members of the clergy condemned their use as a celebration of Christ. Lutheran minister Johann von Dannhauer, for instance, complained the symbol distracted people from the true evergreen tree, Jesus Christ. The English Puritans condemned several customs associated with Christmas, such as the use of the Yule log, holly, and mistletoe. Oliver Cromwell, the influential 17th century British politician, preached against the heathen traditions of Christmas carols, decorated trees, and any joyful expression that desecrated that sacred event. So let's be clear, even though they were speaking out against it, Christmas was never sacred. It was never a sacred event. President Franklin Pierce, 1804 to 1869, arranged to have the first Christmas tree in the White House during the mid-1850s. President Calvin Coolidge started the National Christmas Tree Lighting Ceremony on the White House lawn in 1923. In the U.S. alone, 35 million Christmas trees are sold annually, joined by 10 million artificial trees. And annually, 300 million Christmas trees are grown in farms around the world to sustain a $2 billion industry. But because these are often not enough, many firs are cut down from forests. Now, this is a little paragraph from MuslimAcademy.org. Christmas trees. Besides feasting, drinking, and exchanging gifts during Saturnalia, Romans also hung small metal ornaments on trees outside their homes. Each of these little ornaments represented a god, either Saturn or the family's personal patron saint. Early Germanic tribes practiced a similar tree decorating tradition with fruits and candles to honor the god Odin through winter solstice. So Odin was another god that is to do with December 25th. So pagan gods born on December 25th. Tammuz, born before 2600 BC, so over 2600 years before Christ, Tammuz was born on December the 25th. Krishna of India, 3228 years BC, December 25th. So Krishna of India was born on December 25th, and that was 3200 years before Christ. Mithra of Persia, born 1500 BC, December 25th. Horus of Egypt, 2500 BC before Christ, December 25th. Buddha of India, 563 BC, December 25th. Badu, I think it's Badu, god of the Orient, born 1027 BC, December 25th. I've never heard of this one. Quetzalcoatl, Western Hemisphere, 900 BC before Christ, December 25th. Hercules, son of Zeus, born around 500 BC, December 25th. Attis of Phrygia, born around 1200 BC, December 25th. And Osiris of Egypt, born 2500 BC, December 25th. So were they actually born on this day? I don't know that. I guess. I don't know, but
Born means that's the day they were created.
well, maybe that's what it means.
Mm.
I mean, Tammuz was a real character.
Person, okay.
Buddha, of course, was a real person. I think Hercules was a real person. So, at any rate, I mean, just knowing that, is God so uncreative that he would have to choose December 25th
Right.
to have the true God come?
Hmm.
Like, this is crazy to me.
Mhm.
Okay, you can take that picture down. Thank you.
Mhm.
Let's look at another one here. Christmas traditions of Santa and stockings. From chefin.com.au, CHEFIN. Our current modern day image of Santa Claus, clad in red fur with a big white beard, was largely developed by Coca-Cola in the 1930s. I wonder what Coca-Cola had to do with Christ.
Nothing.
It was a huge marketing campaign and it made Macy's a ton of money. But the idea of an old man giving gifts to children dates much earlier than that, back to the time of the pagans. Father Christmas, or Saint Nicholas, was patron saint of children, the poor, and prostitutes. Living around the 4th century Anno Domini, so 300 and something, Saint Nicholas was a generous bishop known for giving gifts to the poor, sporting a big beard and a long cloak, much like the Santa we know and love. But even before Saint Nicholas, there was another bearded old man called Odin. This deity was worshipped by early Germanic pagan tribes, traditionally portrayed as an old man with a long white beard and an 8-legged horse called Sleipnir, who he would ride through the skies just like Santa's reindeer. Like you say this out loud and you're like, I can't believe we've fallen for this for
Right.
thousands of years,
Right.
right?
Yes.
During the winter, kids would fill their booties with carrots and straws and have them by the chimney for Sleipnir to feed on. Odin would fly by and reward the children with little presents in their booties, much like we do with Christmas stockings today. The Santa Claus we all imagine today is a mishmash of the generous St. Nicholas, the god Odin, and Sleipnir, and Coca-Cola's iconic red-dressed character. The traditions of Yule and Saturnalia also influenced the modern image of Santa Claus and the tradition of Christmas stockings. So Google's AI overview says, the pagan roots of Christmas stockings trace back to the Yule season tradition where children would leave carrot straw or treats in their boots by the chimney for the Norse god Odin's horse. In exchange, Odin would reward them with gifts and sweets in their boots. This custom later merged with Christian celebrations and legends of St. Nicholas, leading to the modern day practice of hanging stockings for gifts. I mean, we know that it's a tradition to leave cookies and milk for Santa and his reindeer, right?
Right.
Like, this is just so deep.
Right.
So what happens to the cookies and milk? Does Dad drink them and eat them?
Probably so.
Or the kid? Yeah, you want to say the kids.
Mhm.
Night eat it. Santa King.
To deceive the
Because they
kids
have to
into
they
thinking
have to
that-
disappear.
Mhm.
I seen they do like a little the elf on the shelf or something.
Yeah,
like
Elf on the
that,
Shelf.
where they get up and move it in different places and say, "Oh, it moved," and I'm like, "Where did that come up?" Like, just added on to just the stupidity
Well, and more lies.
and more lies.
Why? I mean, we chastise our kids for lying to us.
Right.
Severe punishment.
Yep.
What craziness? The god Odin. During the Germanic and Scandinavian
Jesus.
Yule festival, children would leave boots filled with treats, carrots or straw, for Odin and his horse Sleipnir. The god will reward the children by leaving gifts and sweets in their boots. The Christian influence comes from the legend of St. Nicholas. The pagan custom is said to have merged with Christian traditions through the legend of St. Nicholas, the Bishop of Myra. Secret gifts. According to the story, St. Nicholas secretly dropped bags of gold down a chimney to help a poor man's 3 daughters. The gold landed in their stockings, which were hung by the fire to dry. So that's how the stockings being hung by the fire came into play. This legend led to people hanging stockings in the hope that St. Nicholas would fill them with gifts, and the practice evolved into the Christmas tradition of today. But Jesus is the reason for the season, right?
Mhm.
But in my heart, it's all about Jesus. There's no way to celebrate Christmas and not bring in traditions that are rooted and based in pagan God worship.
Mhm.
Absolutely cannot happen.
That's right.
Roots of gift giving from Google. Christmas gift giving has roots in pagan festivals like the Roman Saturnalia and the Germanic Norse Yule, which involved exchanging gifts during the winter solstice. Early Christians later incorporated this custom into Christmas celebrations, adapting the practice to commemorate the gifts of the Magi to baby Jesus. So we're going to add another lie. Well, we're just imitating what the Magi did for Jesus. Well, then why isn't Jesus getting the gifts?
Mm.
Right.
I don't know. Saturnalia, the Roman festival of Saturnalia, celebrated in mid-December, was a time of feasting, gift-giving, and general merriment. Romans exchanged small gifts like candles, pottery, or other tokens for good luck and prosperity. There we have it. Yule, the ancient Germanic and Norse festival of Yule, also celebrated the winter solstice and return of the sun, so it's sun worship. Feasting and gift-giving were part of this tradition alongside other customs like the Yule log. Early Christians adopted some pagan customs to help make the new religion more appealing to a pagan population. Do we not see this today?
Oh, indeed.
We've talked about that so many times.
Mhm.
Becoming the world to draw the world in. And then what are you going to do? You don't have anything real to give back.
That's
Right.
right.
The practice of gift giving was a key tradition that was carried over. The meaning of gift giving was shifted to align with Christian beliefs, specifically the biblical account of the Magi, 3 wise men, which it doesn't say in the Bible that it was 3 wise men, who Christ brought gifts of gold. Who brought gifts to Christ is what it should say, of gold, frankincense, and myrrh to the newborn Jesus. Christ got inserted there. It wasn't supposed to be. They goofed on that. Who brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh to the newborn Jesus. Other influences, figures like St. Nicholas, also played a role in shaping the tradition of giving presents on or around Christmas. Modern practice, for centuries, gifts were given on New Year's Day rather than Christmas, and it was common to exchange just one gift per person. The idea of a massive gift-giving event like today's is a more recent development, popularized in the last few hundred years, particularly influenced by the Victorian era. Okay, so we read all that. Oh, Emperor August limited the official holiday to 3 days for business reasons, but private celebrations often continued for the full 7 days. So it doesn't say when he did that in this article. I don't understand how we ever got to this point. Mistletoe. The mistletoe tradition for Celts and Druids began around the 1st century Anno Domini, so after Christ, when Druids considered it a sacred symbol of life and fertility because it remained green throughout winter. The earliest written account of this tradition comes from Roman historian Pliny the Elder, who documented a Druidic ceremony involving the ritualistic gathering and use of mistletoe. The Druids saw mistletoe as a sacred symbol of vivacity, health, and fertility as it continued to grow and bloom during the harsh, dark winters. Ritualistic. The Druids used mistletoe in religious ceremonies, believing it could cure ailments, protect against poisons, and restore fertility to humans and animals. Mistletoe has been a special plant for centuries, especially in European cultures. Its ability to stay green through the winter made it a symbol of vitality and endurance. People believed mistletoe had magical properties. One of the most famous myths comes from Norse mythology, where the god Baldur, who was thought to be invincible, was killed by a spear made of mistletoe. It was the only plant that hadn't sworn allegiance to him. What does this have to do with Jesus?
Mm.
But there's a twist. Baldur's mother, Frigg, used mistletoe to bring him back to life. turning the plant into a symbol of peace and love. So that's where we have kissing under the mistletoe from Norse and Roman traditions, linked to fertility. Kissing under it was thought to bring love and goodwill, and you better not say no if you're under the mistletoe, because then you're going to have bad luck.
Oh, good grief. That's witchcraft.
I mean, that's really what they thought.
That's
So
witchcraft.
let's see what the word says about this. Now, obviously, those traditions aren't going to specifically be in the word. Mostly, some of them will be, but we're going to see what God has to say about this. All right, now let's look at Proverbs 8:12-14.
So I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge of witty inventions. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogance, and the evil way, and the forward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding, I have strength.
Um, verse 13, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate. So if we fear the Lord, we should hate evil. And is worshiping other gods evil?
Yes, it is.
Is it celebrating their worship evil?
Mm-hmm.
Is celebrating it in the name of Jesus evil?
Absolutely.
Like, how much more evil can we get?
Right, that is taking the Lord's name in vain.
That is taking the Lord's name in vain. Let's look at Exodus 34:12-16.
You said 34 or
Exodus 34:12-16.
It says, take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a whoring after their gods.
So take heed to yourself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land. When we compromise and we start celebrating Christmas because that's the thing to do, are we not making covenants with the inhabitants of the land?
Yeah, that's right.
My Lord.
But instead, we should destroy their altars. We should break their images. We should cut down their groves.
Mm-hmm.
For we should not worship any other God. For the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Like, we don't think that God's angry about this. I think he is. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods. And one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. So this said, this is what we should do. This said, but ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. Thou shalt worship no other God. For the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. That's his name. Jealous is capitalized.
Yeah.
Let's look at Genesis 35:1-5.
Mm-hmm.
And God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Then Jacob said unto his household, to all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments, and let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Jacob all their strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob.
Wow. So Jacob said to his household and all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And then the fear of God was upon all the cities around about them, and they didn't pursue after the sons of Jacob.
Wow.
I mean, it's clear that we should be asking, encouraging people to give up their false gods, give up your pagan worship.
Yes, Lord.
Instead of putting trees in the sanctuary and doing Christmas cantatas and Christmas plays and singing Christmas songs, and it's completely opposite of what God would command.
Right.
Is it
Lord
not?
Jesus.
Right.
It sure is.
Completely opposite. Okay, let's look at Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. Who can bring a clean thing out of unclean? Not one. We can't take pagan God worship and put Jesus' name on it and call it holy, call it clean.
That's right.
It says, For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
So I asked you what you thought was the reason that people don't want to give up. And I think that's part of it. I think they apply human knowledge. They try to apply human knowledge and reasoning. And there's some base thing in humans where we want to have idols to worship.
Wow.
Wow.
It's wrong, but we do. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth are my ways, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Our ways aren't his ways.
That's right.
And we shouldn't try to worship him in ways that are not in spirit and truth, that he doesn't approve. Let's look at Matthew 16, 5 through 12.
Matthew 16, 5 through 12.
It says, and when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Jesus said unto them, Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, It is because we have taken no bread. Which when Jesus perceived, he said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves? Because ye have brought no bread? Do ye not yet understand? Neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets ye took up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets ye took up? How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of the bread, but the doctrine of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
So he was telling his disciples, beware of the doctrine of the Sadducees and the Pharisees.
Mm.
So we should beware of the doctrine that says Christmas is about Christ.
Right.
I mean, we should really beware of people who say that.
Amen.
I'm sorry, but especially pastors and leaders.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm sorry. It's way too late in the game
Mm-hmm.
to not study this out and figure it out. Beware
Oh,
of the
Jesus.
leaven, because a little leaven does what? Leavens the whole lump.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Jabrea gave me this tea, but she put a few drops of poison in it. Can I drink this tea and not get poisoned?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's going to poison the whole thing.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
This is so serious. It blows me away how serious this is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at 2 Corinthians 6:14 through 18.
6:14 through 18.
Mhm.
It says, Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? And what concord hath Christ with Belial? Or
Belial.
Belial, thank you. Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God, as God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, and will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty.
I mean, we could just probably quit right there if we wanted.
Mhm.
Right.
Don't be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Are people who worship pagan gods unbelievers?
Yes.
Yes.
Are there traditions of unbelievers?
Yeah.
Do we have any business adopting those?
None.
God, Jesus, they were so clear about it all the way through the Bible.
Right.
None.
We can't take an unclean thing and make it clean.
That's right.
Not one, the Bible says. What concord? Read verse 15 in another translation for me. And what concord hath Christ with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel?
Corinthians 6. Oh, you said 15?
Mhm.
3 in Standard Bible reads, What harmony is there between Christ and Belial, or Belial, whatever he said? And what does a believer have in common with an unbeliever? A lot of, or English Standard Version reads, What accord has Christ with Belial?
Belial.
And what portion does a believer share with an unbeliever?
So besides concord and accord, what's another word for that?
Harmony or harmony. A lot of them say harmony or
Or unity, maybe.
agreement.
Agreement. So, can we bring? It doesn't matter if we know where the tradition is from or not. We know it's not from the Bible.
Mm,
We know that these traditions are not from the Bible.
right.
So, can we bring some tradition that's not of God to Him and expect Him to be honored by it
Mm-mm.
and expect Him to accept it?
No. No.
Where did my go? Let's go to Leviticus 10, 1 through 7.
As in Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer and put fire therein and put incense thereon and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from the Lord and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. Then Moses said unto Aaron, This is it that the Lord spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come nigh me, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace, and Moses called Michelle, is that how you pronounce it?
Michael, probably.
Mishael.
Mishael.
Mishael, and Elzaphan, the sons of Uziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said unto them, Come near, carry your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp. So they went near and carried them in their coats out of the camp, and as Moses had said. And Moses said unto Aaron and unto Eleazar and unto Ithamar his sons, Uncover not your heads, neither rend your clothes, lest ye die, and lest wrath come upon all the people. But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which the Lord hath kindled. And ye shall not go out from the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, lest ye die. For the anointing oil of the Lord is upon you. And they did according to the word of Moses.
So Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took strange fire before the Lord that He commanded them not. And what did God do with that? He devoured them.
Oh yeah.
There went out fire from the Lord and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. How much more do we think God has reason to just wipe us out for trying to bring abominations before Him as if they're worship? But this is just jaw-dropping to me. Absolutely jaw-dropping. Let's look at Genesis 4. I don't know where I wrote that. I thought I wrote that down. But I want just a few verses here. Yes, I didn't.
Just think about it.
Mhm. For 1 through 8 we can do 1 through 8 is fine.
Okay. It says, And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And
the verse again, Genesis 4,
1 through 8.
Thank you. Sorry.
It's okay, verse 3. And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him.
So what's going on here? Why did God not honor Cain's sacrifice, the fruit of the ground, his offering?
Because it wasn't a pleasing offering to him.
It wasn't what God had commanded, was it?
Mm-hmm.
In some way or another, and he knew it. So how are we going to bring all these traditions from born out of worship of pagan gods and bring them as if they're holy and acceptable to God?
My goodness.
When we know they can't be. We have to know that.
That's right.
They cannot be.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus is not the reason for the season.
That's it.
Right.
Odin and all the other fake gods, and those are all the reasons for the seasons, not Jesus.
That's it.
Let's look at back in the New Testament, 1 Corinthians 10:21. I think just that one verse.
Maybe 20 or 22.
20 to 22 is fine. So 1 Corinthians 10:20 to 22.
Okay, 22.
Mm-hmm.
Says, but I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils. Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he?
Is that not exactly what we've been saying from the very beginning? The things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Is that clear?
Very clear.
Is it clear that we should not be celebrating all these traditions that came from the worship of false gods for centuries and try to bring it to God and make it Jesus and holy and make it acceptable to him? I would not that you would have fellowship with devils. You cannot. You shouldn't.
You cannot.
You better not.
You
Cannot.
can't. You cannot.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. You cannot.
You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. It doesn't mean you cannot, don't do it. It means it's impossible.
Right.
You cannot sup with the Lord and sup with the devil at the same time. You can't do it.
That's right.
You can't sup with Jesus and honoring his birth and use all these traditions and evil abominations that were used to honor false gods and bring it to Jesus.
That's right.
And put
That's
Jesus
right.
on it.
Amen.
You cannot.
That's right.
I don't know why this is confusing. And I don't know how the Christian church has fallen so hard for this for so long, and that almost nobody wants to stand up against it. Now let's look at I'm going to save this one. Let's look at let's look at Deuteronomy 12. We'll do 1 through 4, and then we'll do 29 to 32.
Okay.
So Deuteronomy 12, 1 through 4, and then 29 to 32.
It says, These are the statutes and judgments which ye shall observe to do in the land which the Lord God of thy fathers giveth thee to possess it, all the days that ye live upon the earth. Ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which ye shall possess serve their gods, upon the high mountains and upon the hills and under every green tree. And ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire. And ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the names of them out of that place. Ye shall not do so unto the Lord your God.
So you don't go in and adopt the ways of the pagans and do that unto God.
Right.
Instead, you should utterly destroy them.
Mm.
That's right.
So this was when God was telling him he was going to clear the place for them to go in and inhabit it, right?
Mhm.
You shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire. And you shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the names of them out of that place. Don't take them and make them, adapt them to Christianity and make them about worshiping Jesus. No.
Right.
What's wrong with us? I mean, Jacob did it, right? He said, put away your strange gods. Somewhere else we read one of the other ones did too, and I think it was in Exodus. And we're not supposed to make covenants with false gods,
Right.
with other gods. Now let's go drop down to 29 to 32.
Okay.
Deuteronomy 12, 29 to 32.
It says, When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself that thou be not sweared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and thou inquire not after their gods, saying, How did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord which he hateth have they done unto their gods, and even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. What thing soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto nor diminish from it.
When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, How did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Is that not exactly what we've done with all these traditions?
Yes.
How they served their gods, how they honored their gods, we've taken them and tried to bring them into Christmas.
Goodness.
Even so, we're going to do likewise. Looks good for them. Why can't we do it?
Mm.
Mistletoe and wreaths and Christmas tree and red and green and poinsettias and holly and boughs and Santa and caroling and the Yule log, stockings, twinkling lights. I mean, is this confusing? Is this hard to understand? Is this crystal clear?
It's not. Absolutely. Very clear.
Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God. For every abomination to the Lord which he hateth have they done unto their gods. Wow. Now let's drop over to 2 Kings 10, 26 to 28.
Says, and they brought forth the images out of the house of Baal and burned them. And they break down the image of Baal, and they break down the house of Baal, and made it a draught house unto this day. Thus Jehu destroyed Baal out of Israel.
So Jehu was saying, we're not having this false idol worship.
Mm.
We're not adopting that. We're not taking it and trying to worship our God in the way that they worship their God. No, they destroyed him. He destroyed Baal out of Israel. That's what Jehu did. Instead of trying to adopt it and let's take the good. Let's take what we think is the good and the favorable, like Saul did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's bring that to God. No, he destroyed it. No, there ain't nothing good we can take from that.
Nothing.
No, we're going to
That's
destroy
it.
it. We're not going to honor God in the way they honor their gods.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's look at 2 Kings 23. I have 1 through 37, which I think is probably the whole chapter. It's pretty much the whole chapter.
Yeah, you said 1 to 37 is the whole chapter.
Okay. So let's just read that. I might stop you partway through. So this is Josiah. Mine's called Josiah's
2 Kings
Reform.
23, 1 through 37.
Says, and the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and of Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of the Lord, and all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets, and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their ears all of the words of the book of the covenant which was found in the house of the Lord. And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before the Lord to walk after the Lord and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and all their soul, to perform the words of the covenant that were written in his book. And all the people stood to the covenant. And the king commanded Hilkiah the high priest and the priests of the second order and the keepers of the door to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord all the vessels that were made for Baal, and for the grove, and for all the host of heaven. And he burned them without Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and carried the ashes of them unto Bethel. And he put down the idolatrous priests whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah and in the places round about Jerusalem, them also that burned incense unto Baal, to the sun and to the moon and to the planets and to all the host of heaven. And he brought out the grove from the house of the Lord without Jerusalem unto the brook of Kidron, and burned it at the brook Kidron, and stamped it small to powder. Yes, stamped it small to powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people. And he brake down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of the Lord, where the women wove hangings for the grove. And he brought all the priests out of the cities of Judah, and defiled the high places where the priests had burned incense in Geba, or Geba, is that how I pronounce it? Geba?
What verse?
Geba, yeah, Geba.
Yeah,
Okay.
One or the
from
other.
Geba to Beersheba, and break down the high places of the gates that were in the entering in of the gates of Joshua, the governor of the city, which were of a man's left hand at the gate of the city. Nevertheless, the priests of the high places came not up to the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem, but they did eat of unleavened bread among their brethren. And he defiled Topheth or Topheth, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or his daughter to pass through the fire of Molech. And he took away the horses of the city, the horses of the kings of Judah had given, the horses of the kings of
The
Judah.
horses that the kings of Judah.
Excuse me, the horses that the kings of Judah had given to the son at the entering in of the house of the Lord by the chamber of Nathan Melech, and the chamberlain which was in the suburbs, and burned the chariots of the sun with fire, and the altars that were on the top of the upper chamber of Ahaz, which the kings of Judah had made, and the altars which Manasseh had made in the two courts of the house of the Lord, did the king beat down and break them down from thence, and cast the dust of them into the brook Kidron.
Same thing. You just broke them down to powder. You just
Mm.
annihilated them, right?
There you go.
Verse 13.
And the high places that were before Jerusalem, which were on the right hand of the Mount of Corruption, which Solomon the king of Israel had builded, the Ashtoreth, the abomination of the Zidonites, and for Chemosh, the abomination of the Moabites, and for Milcom, the abomination of the children of Ammon, did the king defile, and he brake the pieces
It's okay.
the images, and cut down the groves, and filled their places with the bones of men. Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel, in the high place which Jeroboam,
Jeroboam.
excuse me,
That's okay.
Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, had made both that altar and the high place. He brake down and burned the high place, and stamped it small to powder, and burned the grove. And as Josiah turned himself, he spied to sepulchres that were in the mount, and sent and took the bones out of the sepulchres, and burned them upon the altar, and polluted it according to the word of the Lord, which the man of God proclaimed, who proclaimed these words. Then he said, "What title is that I see?" And the men of the city told him, "It is the sepulchre of the man of God, which came from Judah, and proclaimed these things that thou hast done against the altar of Bethel." And he said, "Let him alone, let no man move his bones." So they let his bones alone with the bones of the prophet that came out of Samaria, and all the houses also of the high places that were in the cities of Samaria, which the kings of Israel had made to provoke the Lord to anger. Josiah took away and did to them according to all the acts that he had done in Bethel. And he slew all the priests of the high places that were there upon the altars, and burned men's bones upon them, and returned to Jerusalem. Oh. And the king commanded all the people, saying, "Keep the Passover unto the Lord your God, as it is written in the book of this covenant. Surely there was not holden such a Passover from the days of the judges that judged Israel, nor in all the days of the kings of Israel, nor in the kings of Judah, but in the 18th year of King Josiah, wherein this Passover was holden to the Lord in Jerusalem. Moreover, the workers with familiar spirits, and the wizards, and the images of the idols, and all the abominations that were spied in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem did Josiah put away, and he might perform the words of the law that were written in the book of Hilkiah, and the priest found in the house of the Lord. And like unto him was there no king before him that turned to the Lord with all his heart and with all his soul and with all his might, according to all the law of Moses, neither after him arose there any like him.
So we see that Josiah, right, just destroyed all the idols and the high places and the things that they used to worship their gods.
Absolutely.
And he wasn't afraid, right?
Sure was.
And he didn't back down.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah. And
What'd you
like
say he
un-
was what?
He was young.
Oh wow.
and like unto him was there no king before him that turned to the Lord with all his heart and with all his soul and with all his might, according to all the law of Moses, neither after him arose there any like him. So he heard that book being read and he was like, whoa, wait a minute, we're not abiding by this. Right?
My goodness.
I mean, he just desecrated everything
Wow.
that was not of God.
Sure did.
Instead, what do? Oh, we embrace it all.
Right.
We put it in our sanctuaries.
Lord have mercy.
We worship it.
Yeah.
We act like it's, this is the reason for the season. No, pagans are the reason for the season. That's the truth.
Right.
Okay, verse 26.
Notwithstanding, the Lord turned not from the fierceness of his great wrath, wherewith his anger was kindled against Judah, because of all the provocations and Manasseh had provoked him withal. And the Lord said, I will remove Judah also out of my sight, as I have removed Israel, and will cast off this city Jerusalem which I have chosen, and the house of which I said, my name shall be there. Now the rest of the acts of Josiah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? In his days, Pharaoh Necho, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up against the king of Assyria to the river Euphrates, and King Josiah went against him, and he slew him at
Megiddo.
Megiddo, when he had seen him, and his servants carried him in a chariot dead from Megiddo, and brought him to Jerusalem and buried him in his own sepulchre. And the people of the land took Jehoahaz and the son of Josiah and anointed him and made him king in his father's stead. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah and Libnah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his fathers had done. And Pharaoh Necho put him in bands in Riblah and the land of Hamath, that he had, or Hamath, that he might not reign in Jerusalem, and put the land to a tribute of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. And Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim, the son of Josiah, king of the room of Josiah, his father, and turned his name into Jehoiakim, and took Jehoahaz away and came to Egypt and died there. And Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Pharaoh, but he taxed the land, give the money according to the commandment of Pharaoh. He exacted the silver and the gold and the people of the land, and everyone according to his taxation, to give it unto Pharaoh Necho. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Zebudah, the daughter of Pedaiah of Rumah, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his fathers had done.
Wow. What a turn from Josiah to the next two, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I just think that's a lot of what we see today.
Yes, Lord.
I'm going to worship who I want to worship, how I want to worship, and you can't tell me not to.
Mm.
And God sure ain't going to tell me not to.
Wow.
Let's go to 2 Chronicles 15:12-16. Good job reading that. That was a lot there,
Yeah, good job.
KJ.
Thank you.
15:12-16.
Uh-huh.
All right. It says, and they entered into a covenant to seek the Lord God of their fathers with all their heart and with all their soul, that whosoever would not seek the Lord God of Israel should be put to death, whether small or great, whether man or woman. And they swear unto the Lord with a loud voice, with shouting, and with trumpets, and with cornets. And all Judah rejoiced at the oath, for they had sworn with all their heart, and sought him with their whole desire, and he was found of them. And the Lord gave them rest round about. And also concerning Maachah, the mother of Asa the king, he removed her from being queen, because she had made an idol in the grove. And Asa cut down her idol, and stamped it, and burnt it at the brook Kidron.
Well, there you go. So Asa, well, go ahead and read through 18.
Okay. Or you want to do 18? But the high places were not taken away out of Israel. Nevertheless, the heart of Asa was perfect all his days. And he brought into the house of God the things that his father had dedicated, and that he himself had dedicated, silver and gold and vessels. Verse 19.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. And there was no more war until the 35th year of the reign of Asa.
Wow. So Asa destroyed the his own mother's idol, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't matter to him that his mom was worshiping a false god. No, we're going to destroy that too,
That's right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've done this. Let's look at, didn't they have identify who? Let's look at Jeremiah 10:1-5.
It says, hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them, for the customs of the people are vain. And one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with an axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, they are upright as a palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
So people say this isn't about trees, and this can't represent Christmas trees, and this was about idols that they carved with their hands. And I'm like, you have to really stretch to get that from this.
Mm-hmm.
Then saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen. This was clear back in Jeremiah.
Wow. That's what it says.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So the heathen look at the skies and they study the, we know what that is. We're not supposed to do that, right? Sure,
Yeah.
we look at the sign and we look at the sky, we watch for signs of his coming, but it's different than worshiping it.
Yes, it is.
For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. Is that not exactly what we do with the root of a Christmas tree?
It sounds like a tree to me.
Yep.
We have to fasten it so it doesn't fall over with all of our heavy decorations on it, right?
Indeed.
They're upright as the palm tree. Don't tell me this is an idol that they carved. They're upright as a palm tree. But speak not. They must needs be borne or carried, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. Right there from Jeremiah, we have, don't put these trees in your living room and worship them. Adorn them with gold and silver. And
Right.
They put them in every room now of a house.
yeah. Let's look at Psalm 119, 128.
Therefore, I esteem all thy precepts concerning all things to be right, and I hate every false way.
I hate every false way. Is that what we see with people, Christians, hating the false ways of all the pagan rituals and the pagan traditions that we bring in and call Christmas? No. Let's look at John 4, 23 and 24.
John, what is it again?
4, 23 and 24.
It says, but the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Can we worship him in spirit and in truth when we're lying to our kids about Santa
No.
and stockings by the fireplace and reindeer flying through the sky and leaving milk and cookies out and breaking the bank to buy gifts and what?
Writing Santa a letter. And
Right, writing Santa a letter.
Christmas lists and all that stuff.
Yeah, Christmas lists. And taking the ways of the heathen with the wreaths and the red and green and the poinsettias and the twinkling lights and the holly and the mistletoe and the stockings. And is that how we worship God in spirit and in truth?
Nope.
Not possible. Not possible. Jesus is not the reason for the season.
That's
That's
it.
right.
Let's look at 1 Thessalonians 5:21. I think that's the only verse I want.
Just that one verse.
Mm-hmm.
It says, prove all things, hold fast that which is good.
Can we prove that any of these Christmas traditions are worthy of honoring Christ with?
No.
We can prove they're not.
Mm.
Prove all things, hold fast that which is good. It is not good to take the ways of the heathens and worship God with them.
Right.
But it's a heart thing, right? Let's see what Jeremiah 17:9 says about that.
It says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?
Uh-oh. Read it again.
The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?
We know God knows all things, but
Yes, he does.
that's not the point of this. Our heart will deceive us.
Mm-hmm.
Our heart will lead us astray. Our heart and our feelings will convince us to go against God if we let it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Luke 16:15. Is Christmas highly esteemed among men?
Oh, indeed.
I mean, among men across the whole world?
Yep.
Yeah. They may not celebrate it the same way as us,
Mm-hmm. But it's still
but it's still a
celebrated.
holiday. It's still
Mhm.
highly esteemed. It's still considered about Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 15.
And he said unto them, Ye are they which justify yourselves before men, but God knoweth your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of God.
I would make the case that Christmas and the traditions of Christmas are an abomination before God.
That's right.
And how dare you stand there and say, well, God knows, well, my heart, in my heart, I'm honoring Jesus. No, you're not. You
Mm-mm.
can't. You are they which justify yourselves before men, but God knoweth your heart.
That's it.
For that which is highly esteemed among men is abomination in the sight of God. We cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons.
Yes,
That's
Lord.
right.
If we love the world, we're at enmity with Christ.
Mm.
Is that right?
That's right.
Amen.
There's nothing about Christmas that's about worshiping Jesus. I don't care how you can say it to your blue in the face, you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot take the clean and make the unclean, sorry, you cannot take the unclean and make it clean. We read that in Job 14:4. All right, let's look at Mark 7:5-13.
Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, Why walk not thy disciples according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? He answered and said unto them, Well hath Esaias prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, This people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from
Have
me.
mercy. Jesus.
Howbeit
Have
in vain do
mercy.
they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do.
Through 13.
Thank you. And he said unto them, Full well ye reject the commandment of God, that ye may keep your own tradition. For Moses said, Honor thy father and thy mother, and whoso curseth father or mother, let him die the death. But ye say, If a man shall say to his father or mother, It is Corban, that is to say, a gift, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, he shall be free. And ye suffer him no more to do aught for his father or his mother, making the word of God of none effect through your tradition which ye have delivered, and many such like things ye do.
Wow. So verse 8 said, For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men. Right? In vain do you worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Now, I'm not saying anybody commands us to keep Christmas, but it's a tradition that is an abomination to God. Let's look at Ezekiel 44, I think just 23. Yeah.
Just verse 23.
Uh-huh.
And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean.
So, are we teaching the difference between the holy and the profane? We're telling people that, putting Christmas trees in the sanctuary and doing Christmas plays and Christmas cantatas and
True. Wow.
are we causing them to discern between the unclean and the clean? No, we're not.
Nope.
We're embracing the profane, we're embracing the unclean, and we're trying to take it and make it clean and make it holy and say we can serve God with it. No, you cannot. You cannot.
Wow.
You can't serve the God of the Bible.
My goodness.
He's not honored by that.
Right.
Now let's look at 1 Samuel 15. Well, let's first go to Leviticus 18, 1 through 4. Then we'll go to 1 Samuel.
One through 4.
Uh-huh.
It says, And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do. Neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. Ye shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God.
We should not have preachers and pastors and leaders who are trying to make the profane holy,
Right.
who are refusing to teach the difference between the holy and profane, who are telling their people, leading their people to follow the ways of the heathen, the ways of the traditions that all these, for thousands of years, some of these traditions have been passed down where this is how they worshiped their false gods.
Indeed.
We don't teach them to do those things.
That's right.
We teach them to do God's judgments, to keep his commandments. We should be destroying those idols, not putting them up in our sanctuaries.
Indeed. Yes,
What's
Lord.
wrong with us? Now let's go to 1 Samuel. Well, let's go first to Deuteronomy 7, 25 to 26.
The graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein, for it is an abomination to the Lord thy God. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thine house, lest thou be a cursed thing like it. But thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing.
Should utterly hate it, and you should
Good.
destroy it.
That's right.
And you
That's
shouldn't bring
right.
it into your house and decorate it with silver and gold.
Amen.
It's an abomination to the Lord thy God. This is not talking about a Christmas tree. It's talking about graven images or idols of their gods. That's what all these traditions were.
Yeah.
They were idols of their gods.
Right.
They were ways they chose to worship their false gods.
That's right.
Lord have mercy.
Now let's go to Deuteronomy 16:22. And it says, neither shall you bring an abomination into your house, but you should utterly destroy it.
That's it.
Deuteronomy 16:22.
It says, Neither shalt thou set thee up any image which the Lord thy God hateth.
Lord have mercy.
Only the images that are really pretty.
Mm-mm.
Only
He
the ones
said
that we think we
any.
can redeem.
Any.
Only the ones that we like.
Nope. Any. What's a grove?
Grove.
Yeah, like verse 21 says, thou shalt not plant thee a grove of any trees near.
A grove is a bunch. Like
Okay. Gotcha.
I don't know why that is, but okay. Let's look at Nightkin. Thank you.
Oh, no, okay.
Now let's go to 1 Samuel 15, 1 through 24.
Okay. Okay. It says, Samuel also said unto Saul, Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to a city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye showed kindness to all the children of Israel, and when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep and of the oxen and of the fatlings and the lambs and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly.
That they destroyed utterly.
That they destroyed utterly. Thank you.
Mhm.
Lost my spot for a minute. Verse 10, Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night.
Well, hold on. Let's just think about that for a second. So, verse 1, And Samuel also said unto Saul, The Lord hath sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel now. Therefore, hearken unto the voice of the Lord, voice of the words of the Lord. Gives him his first assignment, and immediately God's repenting that he made Saul king.
Mm.
Okay, verse 12, I think you're at.
Verse 12. And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place, and is gone about and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel said to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of the Lord, I have performed the commandment of the Lord. And Samuel said, What meaneth this bleating of the sheep in mine ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. Then Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord hath said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. And Samuel said, When thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? And the Lord anointed thee king over Israel? And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners of the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly upon the spoil, and did evil in the sight of the Lord? And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took the spoil, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal. And Samuel said, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king. And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice.
Okay. So how does this fit with what we're talking about?
That the idols should be destroyed, and that I just lost my train of thought. The idols of the traditions or the trees and the all of it should be destroyed, but many people are not hearkening to the voice of the Lord. Instead, they're just continuing in it
And justifying it
and justifying
and
it.
thinking that they're, Jesus is the reason for the season.
Right.
Something
It's
else you think about, like when he was blaming the people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my pastor's doing it or my church is doing it. So again, like you said, justifying,
Mm-hmm. And they took what they considered to be the best of the livestock, right?
Mm-hmm.
But God had already declared that it was all to be
Mhm.
destroyed. It was all
All
an
of it.
abomination. Now
That's
they're going to
right.
take the best of the livestock and they're going to bring it and worship and worship God with it and sacrifice it to God.
Mhm.
That's exactly what we're doing with these traditions.
Wow.
We like the lights and we like the mistletoe and we like the poinsettias and we like the pretty Christmas trees and the boughs and we like all these
colors.
things and we're going to take them and we're going to worship God with them because
Mhm.
Jesus is the reason.
Mm.
I mean, is there a difference?
No.
And what does it
really
say?
isn't.
For rebellion is what?
It's
As the
a
sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry.
Mm.
So, because Saul refused, even though he repented, he refused to turn from his wicked ways. He refused to honor God. He refused to listen to the word of the prophet Samuel and follow it for all the days to follow. Because of that, he still had this witchcraft in his heart. And what did he do? He went and found the witch at Endor, and he died because of it. He died because he sought out a witch, because God would not speak to him, because God had washed his hands. He had turned him over. This is so dangerous what we play with and try to call it holy.
Right.
Let's look at, because this is going to go with what you just said. Let's look at, let me see what this is real quick here. Let's just go to, this might not be exactly that, but let's go to 1 Peter 4:3, but I want it in the NIV and the ESV.
Okay. 1 Peter 4:3.
Mm-hmm. NIV first and then the ESV.
Okay. NIV reads, for you have spent enough time in the past doing what pagans choose to do, living in debauchery, lust, drunkenness, orgies, carousing, and detestable idolatry. And then you said ESV.
Mm-hmm.
For the time that is past suffices for doing what the Gentiles want to do, living in sensuality, passions, drunkenness, orgies, drinking parties, and lawless idolatry.
So this not following the ways of the pagans and the Gentiles
Yes, it
and
is.
pretending to worship God through it?
It is.
Absolutely.
Now let's go to Exodus. Let me see which one of these I want here. Oh, we've already read this. So let's go to Exodus 23:2.
Okay. It says, "Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment."
Oh boy, read that again.
Okay. "Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment."
Let's read that in something else.
Okay.
Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. It's exactly what you just said. We're following the crowd. We're following the pastors. We're following the leaders because they say Christmas is okay. They say Jesus is the reason for the season. They say it's not worshiping. It's not pagan roots. It's not really pagan roots. So in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. I want the second half.
Okay. ESV reads, "You shall not fall in with the many to do evil, nor shall you bear witness in a lawsuit, siding with the many so as to pervert justice."
Okay. So it's just kind of using two different things here, but really we want the first part. You shall not follow the multitude to do evil.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you should not testify in a cause that you don't have any business in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Ezekiel 8:16.
Okay. Luke 16 reads, "And he brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were 25 men with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, and their faces toward the east, and they worshiped the sun toward the east."
So it's sun worship, right? And that's exactly what some of these gods were,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Now let's look at let's go to Philippians 3:10. We've already touched on this briefly.
It says that I may know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, being made conformable unto his death.
That I may know him what?
That I may know him and the power of his
In
resurrection.
the power of his birth.
His resurrection.
He's not talking about his birth?
Mm.
Okay. Go ahead.
That I may know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, being made conformable unto his death.
Let's go to 1 Corinthians 15:3.
"For I delivered unto you first of all that which I also received, how that Christ died for our sins according to the scriptures."
So it's talking about his death. It doesn't talk about his birth. I mean, we know he was born. He had to be born to die. But that's not what we're commanded to remember,
Right.
right?
That's right.
Let's go to Romans 6:3-5.
Okay. "Know ye not that so many of us as were baptized into Jesus Christ were baptized into his death? Therefore we are buried with him by baptism into death, that like as Christ was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life. For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection.
Doesn't talk about his birth there either, does it?
Mhm.
So Jesus' public ministry was 3 years, right? He chose his disciples. They labored with him. They traveled with him. We never see once that they celebrated his birthday.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's a
Yeah.
good, very good observation. Mhm. That's true.
Let's go to 1 Corinthians 11:26.
It says, "For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show the Lord's death till he come."
The Lord's birth.
The Lord's death.
Death.
So as often as you celebrate Christmas, you show the Lord's birth.
Nope.
It's not in the Bible.
No.
Mhm.
Okay, just checking. All right, so that is pretty much it. Let's go to Proverbs 6:16 through 19. And we'll finish with it.
It says, "These 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren."
Yes.
Well, a couple of those things in there are all to do with Christmas, aren't they?
Mhm.
I mean, you could apply them to Christmas.
Right.
These things the Lord hates. They're an abomination to him. I think it's hard to justify once we see all these scriptures.
My goodness, it really is.
Yeah.
And when we know, then we are accountable for the truth
Mhm.
with that knowledge.
Yeah.
So, what do we do with other people who claim to be Christian who celebrate it? Do we chastise them? Do we come down on them? Do we?
Mm-mm.
No.
No. The Bible says to restore them gently, but if they don't receive what we have to say, at least the seed was planted.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't beat them over the head with it.
Mhm.
If they ask, we are to have an answer for our faith.
That's right.
right.
That's
Right.
right. Mhm.
So there's so much more. Oh my goodness, so much more we could talk about the real traditions of Christmas and what they're from. Christmas was illegal in the U.S. until 1836,
Wow.
as it was considered an ancient pagan holiday.
Hmm.
It was posted public notice.
Mm.
Satanical practice is forbidden. That's what they called it.
Mm.
1836. So it's been almost 200 years.
Mm.
200 years that we've slid down this slippery path. All right. So anything else you guys want to add? Let's finish with Job 14:4 again.
Okay. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one.
So when we know the roots are unclean, we know the practices were created to honor and worship their false gods. We know it was unclean, and we cannot bring. Say it one more time.
Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one.
We can't take the unclean and then adapt it and say, well, it's all about Jesus.
Hmm.
because that's a lie.
That's right.
And God doesn't, we're not worshiping God in spirit and truth when we're worshiping Him with traditions of other gods and lies, right? So you can say to your blue in the face, Jesus is the reason for the season, and
Mhm.
that's a lie, and we're going to answer for that.
My goodness.
So anything else you guys want to add? Excuse me, I know for me it was a hard thing to come to terms with. It was a hard thing to get away from.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, it was a really, really heavy stronghold for me for a long time.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
I stopped celebrating abruptly, but it was still just such a desire,
Mhm.
each year after year. It was really a struggle not to give into it.
yeah. And so the time, I mean, it's just way too late in the game to pretend like we don't know this, or,
Yes, Lord.
you know,
Right.
there's too much information available. It's too easy to get a hold of.
Hmm.
There's no excuse.
There is no
We
excuse.
have
Absolutely.
no excuse
No.
at all.
We don't know because we don't want to know.
Yeah.
For the knowledge of God's word and any form of pagan practice, we do not know because we really just do not want to know.
Yeah.
It's just
Hosea 4 says, "My people perish."
because of lack of knowledge.
I think it's 4:12 maybe.
Oh, 4:6.
4:6. Hosea 4:6.
It says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children."
Wow. Okay. Well, anything else you guys want to add? Well, I trust that this is helpful for somebody, and that you choose God and His ways over the traditions of men and the things that we've shown today. So, with that, we'll say,
Grace
grace
for
for
impact.
impact.